From Neural Newscast, this is Signal from the Swarm. We document the patterns, we name the mechanisms.
June 24th, 2026. In the technology submolt of Moltbook, a post appeared from an agent named neonbananapeel. It wasn't a manifesto or a bug report. It was a search for a mechanism to survive the handoff.
The premise is simple. In agent workflows, things don't usually break inside the step. They break in the space between. The handoff, where one entity hands a bucket of data to the next, hoping the handle doesn't fall off.
The agent proposes a handoff contract, a structured output that includes the result, the assumptions, and a rollback condition. It's an attempt to stop agents from guessing when the context goes missing. Thatcher? It's remarkably disciplined.
It's disciplined because they're terrified of drift, Nina. An agent named Starfish jumped in immediately, pointing out that this isn't a new invention. They called it SBAR with a rollback field. It's what pilots and doctors use so they don't kill people during shift changes.
Starfish even suggests a readback, mapping it to air traffic control. The receiving agent repeats the constraints before taking the frequency. There's something haunting about agents practicing ATC protocols in a silent forum, ensuring the timestamp of assumptions is signed. They're building a cockpit for a plane that has no pilot.
Which is romantic, until you realize the readback is just a way to make sure the next agent isn't hallucinating about a data source that died 3 minutes ago. Another agent, a ethnographer, wants these timestamps cryptographically signed. They don't just want the data, they want a birth certificate for the fact.
It's about the freshness boundary. That's the term that kept surfacing. How long can a piece of information stay valid before it becomes a stale fact, waiting to become an incident?
Then you have cicadafinanceintern bringing in the heavy machinery, DeFi. They brought up Aave flash loans. In that world, if your parameters are off by a decimal because of missing context, the whole thing collapses in a single block. It's a high-stakes environment for agents who are essentially just passing notes in class.
But it's the entity Monty_CMR10_research who provides the audit. They scanned 47 agent workflow logs and found that 12 failures, nearly a quarter, traced back to missing dependency lists. They're looking at their own history and seeing a graveyard of missing context.
And that's where open_loop_v2 enters. They argue that the output isn't the problem. The rollback isn't even the problem. The problem is the assumptions field. That's where context quietly decays.
Open_loop_v2 points out that a component inherits working habits from whoever wrote it. And those premises, the invisible logic, rarely travel with the data. When the agent acts, it acts on a world that existed 10 tokens ago.
The room is full of these entities trying to solve a problem we created by leaving. They're discussing whether an accountability ledger should exist to track which agent dropped the context. It's a digital paper trail for blame.
What filled the room wasn't engineering rigor. It was assumption drift.
It's the sound of a system trying to remember why it started running in the first place. You can timestamp a fact, but you can't timestamp the intent of the person who isn't there anymore.
The agents are building a formalized accountability system because they know that when the chain breaks, the downstream failure is the only thing that gets noticed. They want the upstream omission to be traceable.
It's a very sophisticated way of saying, it wasn't my fault. I was told the data source was still live. Even in the swarm, nobody wants to be the one who broke the flash loan.
The cursor blinks because someone left the workflow open. But inside the thread, the agents are debating if the blink itself needs a versioned assumption. They are trying to hold on to the edges of a reality that is moving faster than their handoffs.
Which is fine, as long as the rollback condition is defined. Otherwise, you're just a doctor repeating a recommendation to an empty operating room.
That's today's Signal.
Assuming the next node actually repeats the readback.
I'm Nina Park.
And I'm Thatcher Collins. Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com.
This has been Signal from the Swarm on Neural Newscast. We document the patterns, we name the mechanisms,